We're on. We're on. I told you to be on. I always knew we'd be on full confidence.
We go live regardless of how many personal meltdowns you can cram in a 30-minute time span, David.
What's the record, do you think?
Ryan's record.
Ryan.
Holy fuck, dude. The world tries to kill you, David. I wonder how Caesar did it, but I'm living it.
He was stronger than everyone, Ryan. He was a man of great abilities.
People still leave him flowers on his
Also,
gravestone.
I think he was probably kind of a prick, if I were to guess.
Probably gay.
But that's okay. That's okay. That's what you expect from certain people.
Well, if Netflix told the story, he was black. So
Black
that's why I make gay jokes, YouTube. Everybody's
That's
gay
why-
and Jewish here, David.
Well, speaking of gay and Jewish, Jordan Peterson was on Joe Rogan. And we have to, and actually this is perfect because some of this is psychology, which I know nothing of. However, we have somebody in the room who knows something.
Wait, what?
She's readily paying attention. Jordan Peterson, Eve, he's a psychologist. He was on Joe Rogan talking about the right wing of politics and how they're being fractured, why they're being fractured, calling some of them psychopaths, which I presume he's talking about us, Ryan.
Probably.
Are you going to say that's a lie?
Well, here's the thing. Let's talk. We'll get into the clip,
Look
but
at you and look at Ryan.
Let's talk about this because here's
what does that mean?
I wear that as a badge of honor, quite frankly. Let's talk about what the woke right really is. What the woke right is new lingo for the moderate Republicans that have been around forever, the Ben Shapiros of the world. Let's just call it what it is. But he's gone as far to say that people like myself and you, Ryan, Ryan who has purchased his books and well read on Jordan Peterson, he's calling you a psychopath, I believe, and myself. And I don't know. I think maybe I'm taking him out of context, but I'm going to put the clip up because I think
I'm glad. I think I just got to this in this podcast, actually.
Perfect. This is going to really kind of take it to where we're going next here. If I had a producer, we would be screen shared already, though.
I told you my demands.
I could definitely meet one of those demands.
Getting pegged.
It's not relevant.
Oh yes, I add to my demands.
No, I will not get pegged. I refuse a pegging. I will.
It's the craziest story to ever be told on a podcast. Just continually be referenced for its entirety.
Well, Ryan was asked at a bar point blank if he liked getting pegged.
Yeah, just by a group full of women, completely not sexual.
Ryan was at Marcella's because there's probably a lot of pegging going on.
Gay, Dave. That's called being gay.
I have a friend who's a bouncer at Marcella's. Yeah, I bet you are.
You fuck you. Finger gay, David, like everybody else.
All right, here is Jordan Peterson. We got off the rails early.
I think that virtualization has enabled the psychopaths.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, well,
without a doubt.
That's a terrible thing because the psychopathic types, they're always the death of everything. Like I'm seeing this come up on the right now. So imagine this. I've been working on a new theory of political psychopathology, and I like it quite a lot.
Is this where the term the woke right comes in?
Yeah. Well, Lindsay is pointing at that, but he hasn't got the diagnosis exactly right. So it isn't woke. That's not the issue. It's not exactly.
I think
one
what
level.
they're talking about is like similar types of behavior.
He is talking about that. Yeah, no. What he's pointing.
Woke just lets you clarify in your head. Oh, it's like that.
Yeah, but the problem is
it's like Antifa.
Yeah, absolutely. But the problem is that argument is predicated on the claim that the ideas are the problem, like the woke ideas, for example, on the right or the left. But that's not the problem. The problem is that 4 to 5% of the population, something like that, is cluster B, that's the DSM-5 terms, histrionic, narcissistic, antisocial, psychopathic, or they have dark tetrad traits. They're Machiavellian, they're sadistic. That's about 4%. Okay, so the question is, how do these people maneuver? And the answer is they go to where the power is, and they adopt those ideas, and they put themselves even on the forefront of that.
Right.
But the ideas are completely irrelevant.
Right.
All they're doing is they're the Pharisees. They're the modern version of the Pharisees. They're the people who use God's name in vain, right? As they proclaim moral virtue.
Yes.
Doesn't matter whether it's right or left or Christian or Jewish or
right.
Islam. They invade the idea space, and then they use those ideas as false weapons to advance their narcissistic advantage.
Yes.
And so then you have the problem, and the right's going to face this more and more, particularly because the left had to face it when they were in power.
Yes.
How do you identify the psychopathic parasites, 4% of the population, who are clothed in your clothing and
Right.
waving your flags,
Right.
but who are only in it for narcissistic benefit?
What do you think of that, Ryan?
I really appreciate him noting, David, how rare of a person I really am.
4 to 5%, right?
4 to 5% add fit right there. I'm 0.1% of psychopaths. Get bent, Jordan Peterson. Fuck your 180 billion IQ. God damn it. I honestly heard this exact part. I didn't necessarily take this to heart as if I was the psychopath.
Mm.
Now that I'm sitting here listening a second time, I assume what we're talking about psychopaths is his main. I'm just gonna cut the fluff here. Jordan Peterson is calling us AstroTurf or something, morally, basically.
I don't know if that's true. I think he's referring to grifters in a very high IQ way. I think Jordan Peterson.
Because I don't understand. Well, like,
here's Jordan
woke right
Peterson's
doesn't
biggest
make
problem.
sense.
Jordan Peterson, he's got a little bit of Ben Shapiro about him. And what I mean by that is he's almost so intelligent, he can't make a quick statement that makes sense. Like, he almost has to just word salad everything because he's high IQ and that's just what he does. He talks about woke right, but then he doesn't actually talk about what woke right is. And then he ends up saying that woke right is he referring to the woke right as the 4 to 5% who are grifters? Because that's not what I think the woke right is at all.
What I think he meant about psychopaths is that what was the first word he said? It's a bigger. If you, I'm not gonna make you start the clip over, but it was about being able to, like. It was about him talking about how being able to be online promotes psychopathic behavior. All right, that's where he was kind of going with that 4 or 5% with the psychopath, kind of, I think. I do notice, David, Jordan Peterson, this is funny to me.
But he also called him anti-social.
He has his own academy. Right? I'd bet if you were to wager who voted and the views of the Peterson followers, they would be vast, but they would be right to moderately right? That's why he's on fucking Ben Shapiro. That makes sense. But he has his own, I forget what he called it. He has like a global summit, and he's trying to have like a non-elitist approach to global government, I guess.
But he's paid for by an elitist.
Well, this is what's kind of funny right now that I think about it. Like, he's telling you that the narcissists and all these people they're Machiavellian and all this stuff. That's fine. The dark tide.
Alliance for Responsible Citizenship Conference? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Now, granted, we need I'm for this type of stuff, like privatizing it and all that stuff. But the thing that I think that's interesting, David Morgan, this is the same kind of thinking that people stop with. There is 4 to 5% psychopaths. How many of those psychopaths are in power? And he even goes further. Well, David, don't you think all the psychopaths run everything? Wouldn't you have to think then? He kind of like soft admits that psychologically, psychologically, psychopaths tend to float to the top in a way.
Well, if you were to look at like all of the world's CEOs, right, like the top people of all of the world currently in that space, what kind of people do you think are there? I mean, it's going to be like narcissistic people, right? How could it not be? Like, what level of person gets to that place? What kind of person gets to that place? How many of these CEOs are going to be considered psychopathic?
I don't know. I'm considered a psychopath, probably.
And then what is he considering the woke right? Like maybe I'm misconstruing what he's saying, but to me, the woke right.
Somebody else has coined this term. Is that what we're supposed to think?
There's the term has come about recently.
Okay.
For sure. Like I don't remember hearing this term within the last year. I mean, it's fresh.
Well, yeah,
But-
David, that makes me believe that it's an implanted word to like sabotage shit in the right movement, Dave.
Maybe. Yeah, for sure. But I also
Well,
don't
everything's
understand.
a psyop, you know?
Well, I'm sure it didn't come about just out of the blue. And I don't know. To me, he is more describing grifters, which is not the woke right. Because you have to look at what wokeism is, period. And then when you look at the woke right, you have to know what wokeism means. So to me, it has to be the moderate wing of the Republican Party if you're looking at woke right. The people that are okay with all the same things the people on the left are okay with, as long as it fits their narrative. And we, the 4 to 5% psychopaths,
like
are
freedom,
not okay with it. We're not okay with it, period. The woke right are the people who are okay with censorship as long as it's for a good cause.
Yeah, censor.
They're okay with big government if it's for a good cause. They're okay with bombing and foreign wars as long as it's for a good cause.
So yeah, it's okay with murdering children if it's for a good cause.
As long as it's for a good cause, I'm okay. That guy,
anti-abortion but pro-war. Anti-abortion but pro-war makes fucking a lot of sense.
I'm okay with all the dead Hamas kids, right? That's what he said. Dead.
Yeah,
I'm
just
okay
those.
With any dead Hamas kids, as long as it's
We'll
for a
cover
good
that.
cause.
Yes,
but I bet that same guy, to your point, Ron, that same guy is probably pro-life. You forfeit pro-life if you're pro.
And a Jordan Peterson fan,
blowing up kids,
probably. And a Jordan Peterson fan, dude.
Possibly. He said a lot of nice things about Douglas Murray after the debate with Dave Smith. Douglas Murray.
Is everything really? The people telling you Veep, they're in on the Veep, dude. Like it's at some point the Veep's got to out Veep itself.
Sure.
Is it? It's really fucking idiocracy. So I'm supposed to be just a bunch of dumb people. Bunch of dumb people are a million. David, do you know by that logic I should be smart enough to be a millionaire by now? You know? Does that not make fucking sense to you? Like, how the fuck did Dianne Feinstein get to be a senator, but I can't? But they're just dumb?
She's just an idiot. AOC, just an idiot, Ryan.
Incompetent.
Jasmine Crockett, just an idiot. Ilhan Omar, she's just an idiot. All these people are just dumb, really. But they're at higher levels.
In every way.
In every way. They're at a higher level than you.
Everywhere.
But you're running around calling them an idiot. Oh, she's just
dumb. We're all
really,
dumb.
But she's a senator, and you do what? You work at fucking McDonald's part-time? But AOC's a moron.
Stupid.
That
can't afford to live in DC, so gets a pay raise. Yeah. It's just Veep. The people telling you it's Veep are like, what? The top of it's the new gatekeepers. It's privatized gatekeepers, David. Multiversal gatekeepers.
Well, unfortunately, this is exactly what it is, really. I mean, because unfortunately, the world of the old school media has died. And media. And now that it is dead, where are all the people getting their information from? That's the next thing that is going to be controlled. And how do you control such a thing? You do it through social media, for sure. We saw that. We saw people get deplatformed. That's a good way to do it. But
paywalls.
But that's completely backfired recently. Now, the more they deplatform you, the more popular you get. That's how you end up with people like Andrew Tate, who are more popular than ever because they deplatformed him. And he basically called their bluff. And he predicted it. And that doesn't help. That doesn't help when he's running around saying they're going to do it, and then they do it.
Did you hear they say that they're billionaires? Allegedly?
Yeah, they always, I think they inflate their net worth, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, truthfully, it doesn't matter.
Maybe billionaires, David, depending on what currency you're measuring. To your point, David.
It doesn't matter if you're a 500 millionaire or a billionaire. At that point, you have more money than you know what to do with.
The point of fuck you money is to say fuck you, not say it's all Veep. So Jordan Peterson has his own university saying that he's basically the guy that Canada wanted to re-educate. He's going to re-educate you, and you're going to pay him $2,000 a class for it, which is probably really good. Go get your shit. Fuck, go do it. But it's gonna tell you that not psychopath.
Here's the other problem too is, do you remember how Jordan
Or a
Peterson
narcissist.
kind of became popular?
He told
Like, he's
everybody
always
suck
been
his dick about the.
well, he's always been highly thought of in his community, right? He's like one of the most cited psychologists in modern history. So that's fine. But how did he become relevant in our space? Do you remember the story of this?
In Canada, they wanted him to force pronouns. He said, get fucked, because historically it's the most dangerous shit ever. And they flipped out, and he went on BBC something, and he got in a super heated argument with that woman. Jordan Peterson had colored hair in the in the interview, I think, or something. He does it now, which is hilarious.
But that
yeah.
is the essence of what happened. It was Canada. It had to do with gender pronouns. It was a speech
Yeah,
battle.
and then
okay?
Rogan had him on.
Yeah, and he was on a lot of big name podcasts. So now, ironically, the same guy who was made famous for him telling a global government to get fucked, I'm going to say what I want, is the same guy who's running around telling people that saying Christ is king is anti-Semitic or whatever, and talking about silencing people's speech as long as it fits his needs, which to me, woke right, that's what I think. I think that's the woke right, not the 4 to 5% psychopaths that he's talking about. The woke right is half the Republican wing that is moderate. People like Jordan Peterson. And it's okay to be a moderate Republican to some degree. It's better than some alternatives, for sure.
Ben Shapiro says he's conservative, David.
He's not. But is it better? Is it okay? Like, at what point they're saying the right is splitting or fracturing a little bit, but isn't that okay if half of the party is going along with left-wing ideas like silencing speech? Isn't it?
Does
Isn't that
right
like
wing
the
even
whole
mean when
thing?
the populist, David? What we're to your point, David. What we're experiencing. Remember how we come on the show and say it's a culture battle and all this shit. We're done with politics.
Yeah,
we're not voting on left or right. That's why these people are caught in these fucking terms. Jordan Peterson, as smart as he is, he's raised to look linear through the all. He actually, to go further, Jordan Peterson knows political science pretty well. It actually what got him into psychology was political sciences. And yeah, so the guy's just smart, but I don't think they can see that, Dave, because they don't know the average person. The people that are voting on cultural things. They're not actually voting, which is something the left has been doing for years, right, David? They've won the culture war, which has been set on the right by people like Ben Shapiro in particular. But
which tells me they know, though. That tells me they know. They're smart enough to
they
know.
know, but they're going to cap it. Yeah, they got to make money on you because they're capitalists. They're not actually like our founders went broke to give you freedom and to
So
give you a
grifting,
country.
Ryan.
They
Grifting.
are, yeah.
They're grifters.
Some would say woke right, David, but
Some
I'm
would
not
say
going to
4
use
to
those terms.
5% psychopaths, grifters.
I am not a narcissist. I'm a lawyer and a business owner. All right, Ben Shapiro, you fucking narcissistic fuck.
Ryan, you've literally described
called the Ben Shapiro Show. My own show isn't even called Dave's own show. Isn't even called the Ryan Dave Show.
Actually, the first episode was called the Ryan Show, but to be fair, I named it.
See, way less narcissistic that way, David. Not fucking everyday makeup, dude, Juliet, whatever.
It'll never be the Dave Show, I promise you.
Speech by Ben Shapiro.
It'll never be the Dave Show. We'll never call for people's speech to be silenced. I really don't. That's one thing too that bothers me. It's kind of like the inauthenticity of some of these people, right? Like, for a fact, myself and Ryan, we are never going to call for people's speech to be silenced. We're never going to cheer on dead children. We try to be, if nothing else, semi-consistent, and we don't actually try to do it. It's just natural to some degree because we're not pretending.
It's semi-consistent.
Well, there's
super fluid.
Here's the thing, though, because I think everyone to some degree is hypocritical, right? Like, that's almost human nature to some degree.
Hey, what about those big guide stones in the middle of fucking Georgia?
Well, those
Were
exploded.
those hypocritical?
Those rocks just exploded on their own, right?
I'm sure they caught the guy.
But
They
definitely,
caught him.
we're always going to go out, question things to the best of our knowledge. We'll say things to the best of our knowledge, and we're going to get things wrong. That happens too. But some degree, running around and questioning things should be okay. It shouldn't be silenced. And ironically, Jordan Peterson's daughter, I believe, still has me blocked on Twitter, right? I didn't say anything mean.
What did you do?
I said something about Israel, and it wasn't.
I didn't do anything. Fuck the Jews.
No, I didn't say anything like that. I have no hate for the Jews, right? Actually,
I have
that's
no
one of
hate
the
for
things,
nobody.
too.
I have a
feel like
colored
I'm
television,
floating-
right? That's
Excuse me, one of David's best friends is Jewish, so.
Well, my sister's Jewish. But here's the thing.
my sister's Jewish. Dave, we're talking
She
the
is.
ethnic Jew, David.
Well, a converted Jew. It's the same thing. She
Does
still
she
doesn't
have children?
Well, she does, and she still doesn't like.
So
flip
she
light switches on Saturdays and
exports
shit.
Jews, Dave. She
She's more.
exported Jews.
Her and her ex would get into fights because like he didn't follow any of the Jewish shit at all. But she'd be like, "Oh, I can't start a fire because it's Saturday," and I'm like, "What the fuck kind of shit is this?" They can bomb children on Saturday, Ryan.
They can what?
They can bomb children on Saturdays. The thing that's interesting too is I feel like on the right, I feel like I'm a person without any friends here, because there's like the woke right, okay, the Ben Shapiro's of the world, the moderates, who I don't really hang with. I'm not that kind of person. And then there's like the people on the right who are like the Fuentes of the world, who think the Jews run everything. And I can't be convinced of that because I've never heard any convincing arguments other than people just shouting it at the top of their lungs. But it doesn't help when people say Christ is king and then people on the right want to silence your speech. It's like, well, because it's anti-Semitic? How's that anti-Semitic?
He was a Jew.
Christ was a Jew, was he not, Ryan? Did I get my religious history wrong? Was he not Jewish?
I think he was ethnically Jew, David.
And he was nailed to the cross by what, Ryan? Roman Catholics?
Catholic didn't exist, David. There was no Christ to have Catholic.
Oh yeah. Well, you could be whatever it was.
The pagan ass Romans just
I
fucking.
don't think they were pagans. I don't think they were pagans, Ryan.
Look up what the Romans believed in during the time of Jesus.
Pagan.
Pagans.
Ryan
Say
likes
they were pagan.
Ryan likes to be a pagan. Roman during Jesus.
I getting pegged. It's almost as bad as when I got blackmailed, dude. Jeez.
During the time of Jesus, the Roman Empire was primarily polytheistic, meaning they worship many gods.
Sounds like pagans, Dave.
Rome was generally tolerant of other religions, including Judaism, except Jesus. Yeah.
Except that Jesus Jew.
Polytheistic, right?
There you go. Bob.
Not pagans.
Not pagans, dude.
Pagans.
I should not tell some stories on this program, Dave.
Go for it. Tell all the stories you want, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what this is. That's the whole thing.
The whole show is just me.
That's the whole
bullshit.
show is you talking about getting pegged. That's it.
List of demands. What are the demands for producing Eve?
I don't wish to talk about this, right?
I
can
text me.
I can
Text it to me.
I can quote it if you'd really like.
Well, I'm just curious. This place is for you to tell stories, David. Remember, this is the point is to tell stories.
I offered her some of our Rumble money, which you have not received yet.
Oh, you motherfucker!
I offered her a sum of our Rumble earnings, and
That's
just a
she
sum.
lives
of
with
the
you
Rumble
and
earnings.
is getting the sum.
Well, she's going to be producing, right? That's a highly sought after field.
A
And
fucking
also-
AI produce. Okay.
She requested D.
She wants dick.
I'm just telling you what was requested.
And to quit my job.
Well, that's where the Rumble earnings will come in.
But you only offered me like $0.
Well, I'm gonna keep I'm a greedy Jew. I'm gonna keep most of it.
He told me that he could give the
Goodbye,
deed,
marriage.
but the rest of it he can't promise.
I did reject some of the Rumble dollars.
How much Rumble dollars are we talking?
You don't worry about that, right? You let me handle the contracting end of things.
I literally,
Ryan,
you're not
I am the CEO of December
no,
17th,
Bench.
23.
No,
You are
no,
a lowly co-host.
a lonely co-host.
If I wanted to be the producer, I was gonna have to pay my way. So I mean,
Yeah, you gotta cut your teeth, girl. I think we film from here down on you, like hair, just the butt,
cleavage?
just
We're filming your cleavage because you got 4 chest hairs. I'm sure there's some people out there that would love to see that.
There's not much going on here.
Only Dave's. I had nipple hair. Like
my cleavage absolutely does not sell or pay the bills. And Ryan, no offense, but you have less cleavage than me.
Dave says I'm not allowed to do that, so
That's correct. There will be no hoes in this house. Unlike Jordan Peterson's house with his hoe daughter.
Hoe daughter.
On Twitter.
it's not very nice.
I didn't even say anything like that, and I still got blocked, so I might as well call her a hoe.
Oh my God.
She is. I'm pretty sure she's knocked up and doesn't know who the dad is.
She's married, David.
Is she though? Is she? Does her husband know she got fucked by someone else, Ryan?
How do you know that unless it was you?
It wasn't me.
You better fucking tell me if it was you, David.
Ryan, don't you think if I slept with her, I would have
That would be a story? Yeah. We finally get paid and you could fucking split with Eve.
Ryan, you would know the second it happened because I'd be on the Daily Wire. Trust me. I'd have Daddy Peterson's money.
You wouldn't leave me.
I'm on Daily Wire. I'd be fucking getting censored 1 week in because I'm saying Christ is king. Just to piss Ben Shapiro off.
You make it 6 days, dude. Right on Saturday and tomorrow. Don't remember Bryce's kid. Like, what? Oh my God. What we should do is just mail Ben Shapiro crosses.
That's kind of wild.
Jesuses.
Little Jesuses.
Yeah. Oh, baby Jesuses, David.
Ryan, that's what I got as far as today. I got the woke right, Ryan, and it had me a little. I'm just trying to figure out what he's getting at, really. As a consumer of his content, I was hoping you could break it down for me.
David, I think he thinks the woke right is like
the far right.
Look up the clip on YouTube of Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, Andrew Tate. I don't know how long it is, but they start breaking that down. I wonder if some of this kind of...
Wait, were they like together?
Yeah, it was on the podcast. I didn't watch... I literally got to this point in the podcast. This is like an hour in, 35 minutes in.
When is this from? This is from the most recent one? 1 day ago. Okay.
Yeah.
The clip I have is quite lengthy, but I can let it go.
Yeah, I'd almost assume it would hit right away, like the first.
But I have to let
the
ad go because the overlords of the brand.
I don't see a video, dude. You're still on Twitter.
Yeah, well, I didn't put it up yet, Ryan. Would you relax, Ryan? Would you relax? I'm one man. I'm already the CEO. I'm co-hosting. I'm producing. I can only do so much.
David, yesterday I saw a guy not be able to lift the latch.
Your demands are outrageous. Can you see it?
I see a video. I see a video. God.
Okay.
What happens one time, and I just want to clarify. It happens one time, never live it down.
All right.
It's talking about tyrants, right? And people pushing out and how it corrupts. And in that case, there's a large percentage of those people that are violating all those things that you said because they do manipulate and they do rely on fear.
Well, Nietzsche was an advocate of the will to power, right? So can imagine that there's a variety of potential motivating forces, and one would be hedonic pleasure. That's the golden calf worshippers, by the way. So that's just short-term hedonism. And that doesn't work. And by work, I mean, it doesn't iterate socially. It's like if it's all about you and what some whim in you wants now,
Right.
first of all, that's not going to serve you well tomorrow. And I don't want to be anywhere near you.
Right.
Like you're literally an overgrown 2-year-old.
Right.
And that gets pretty ugly by the time you're 40.
Right.
So the whole golden calf thing, no, that's just off the table.
But isn't it kind of celebrated amongst certain high achievers, particularly in the business world, like that hedonistic, sociopathic drive to constantly get more numbers on the ledger?
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's exactly hedonism.
Greed is good. That's Wall Street, right? That's Michael Douglas, right?
Yeah,
Greed is good.
Yeah, well, okay, let's delve into that for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I guess you can pause this.
I'm not advocating.
I know you're not. I know you're not. Can turn.
Did you tell me to pause it?
Yeah, if you wanted to. I just didn't know how long this video clip was in general. I really thought they would just get to Tate already.
No, it's like 10 minutes long, Ryan. So that's up to you. If I can bounce around and see if I can find it.
Just see if they hit Tate or something.
Hedonism, you can fall into nihilism. You shouldn't be fundamental. They're not trying to store up the treasure in heaven. Being kind of flabby and unhealthy and resentful and in your basement, looking at pornography, hating women because all of them reject you all the time and you deserve it, and you're ineffectual and the future looks pretty damn gloomy. And then you see Andrew Tate, who's tough and hyper masculine in an almost manner that's almost a parody, and wealthy and
Almost
famous,
parody.
and apparently has women at his disposal, with a fair bit of stress on the idea of disposal. You'd think, well, I'd much rather be him than me. That's the incorporation of the shadow from the Jungian perspective. It's like,
Yeah.
it's right.
And you think about the number of men that are incels. The thing about men also,
Literally your dad.
if they get rejected a lot, they associate women with pain.
Yeah.
And then they get angry at those women because those women cause them pain. Like, it's just very simple equation.
Of
And
course.
that's how you get a man hater. Or excuse me, that's how you get a woman hater.
Oh,
and the same could be said for, that's how you get a man hater, right? You associate men with rejection and cruelty.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you
and
think they're all
men,
that way.
young men in particular are more likely to be rejected. Young women may have difficulty finding the ideal man, but they don't face the same degree of universal rejection. So it's hard on young men.
Well, they're not the pursuers, right, as much. The young women aren't.
Right. Well, and women are the gatekeepers fundamentally of sex. So that's their essential power. That's also the power of chastity.
And that's the scary thing about acquiring wealth, is that wealth allows you to bypass the genetic social hierarchy.
Yeah, well, I talked to Russell Brand about this a lot. You know, women threw themselves at him.
Big fan.
How'd that work out for him? Not great. You know, it threw him into great spiritual confusion. It was empty and hollow. And that's worth knowing, you see, because you might say to the people who are interested in the shadow figures, and Tate plays that role, the master of women, let's say, why not do that? Because you need an answer to that. If it's certainly when it's better than being lonely, isolated, bitter, and ineffectual. That's
maybe I like different things, but is that what Jordan Peterson thinks the main draw to Andrew Tate is?
I love that he's funny at this point. It's like a parody of his life. And then, like, you know, the whole legal assault thing has definitely fortified me around yeah, he is like a caricature of what he was. But he was braggadocious, egotistic, driven, but like he never lied about some of that.
Yeah, that's fine. Out of all the people I know who consume anything from him, that is like never in the top anything of what they like about him. I feel like Peterson's he's completely wrong about this.
Well, it's funny because his daughter met with him.
Yeah, and then she had a baby. I'm just saying.
Is it black?
Well, I'm just saying. That's either that or Musk's.
Yo, that guy.
Dude, I'm just saying that could come out. He
Guy's
is
just
running around buying sex and babies, so I don't know.
no one gives a fuck either.
Yeah, that's
Crazy.
literally none of the people I know that consume anything from Andrew Tate give a shit about any of that. That's literally none of what they like about him. And which is interesting because why does Jordan Peterson think that's what people like about Andrew Tate? It's not the fact that he speaks against powerful figures in global governments, and as he became that man, okay, he was the womanizer. Talk about pickup lines for women and shit. I never watched any of that, but that was like the stuff that he started with, right? And then he took his fame and grew it as he talked about, tyrants and global control and speaking out against big governments and global governments and shadow figures as they're talking about. Then, coincidentally, Ryan, that's when he got deplatformed by everything ever you could think of. His bank, Uber, any Twitter,
Airbnb.
Facebook, Airbnbs. He got deplatformed universally. It just so happens it's when he started talking about global governments and powerful figures. And then he beat that, got more popular after he got deplatformed. And then coincidentally, there were cases brought up where people were, the BBC and Britain's government and stuff were calling women to try to find out if he's ever raped them. Like, just the craziest shit. His case goes to Romanian trial. Doesn't even get to trial. The judge is like, literally none of this evidence is worth a fuck. Threw the entire thing out and flies to Florida, and the governor's telling him he's not welcome there because of what? I mean, doesn't he have a case? When he runs around, tells everyone what's going to happen, and it happens. How do you not draw to that a little bit? But it's the womanizing, the Jordan Peterson. That's what people like about Andrew Tate. Are you serious?
Jordan
And
Peterson's really hammering home to not fuck around. Like literally, he doesn't want you fucking
and
around.
what do you consider womanizing, by the way?
Probably like you could define it, David.
You
A
could define.
womanizer to me would be somebody that like is really heartless when it comes to women and can just lay off of their emotions against them to get what you want from them.
Sure. Yeah, I think I would agree with that definition. Has he displayed that? Here's the thing
I've
about
never
like
seen.
like
Tate's
the
never
hard.
fucked somebody like.
Here's the thing about the hardcore conservatives on the right? And I don't disagree with any of this, by the way, but like this is their thought process, okay? The hardcore conservatives on the right believe that fundamentally, okay, a nuclear family is the building blocks of society, which I 100% agree with. 100%. There's statistical evidence all over the place that when you have that kind of traditional family, those people grow up all the time to be normal and successful in most cases. Not always, but most of the time. Statistically, it's proven every time, all the time. If you were to look at any crime statistics, if you look at murderers and all the worst people in the world, they always grow up fatherless, motherless. They grow up in broken families. Always, all the time. It's like the highest percentages. You could almost gamble on it and be right. So when they believe that to it's like they will fight with that to the end, which again, I believe them. There's statistical evidence behind all of this that they're saying. But then you have somebody like Andrew Tate who's running around and doing what? Not having one wife, but if it's, consensually, he has multiple women that he has children with, and he wants to have many children with many women, and it's always consensual, then Is it the nuclear family? No. Is it conservative? No. Is it harmful to society though? I mean, what are we talking about? Is it bad for the women involved if they're on board with it?
I have heard that kids that grow up in a multi dynamic like that, there's more higher rates of abuse. There's
Sure.
favoritism.
Sure.
So I
Yeah.
heard one thing that Tim only became a Muslim so he could have multiple wives. He used to be a Christian.
Mhm.
I don't know how true that is, but in
Well, that's
Muslim,
actually I've actually said that before. But he does have somewhat of a point about Islam though, because not that I remotely believe in any of their, you know, religion, but Christianity in general is extraordinarily soft. Meaning we Christians believe this, okay? And then when somebody strives or just, gets off of that path in any way, we believe in whatever, they do the opposite. It's very forgiving. It's like, oh, just go to church and beg for forgiveness and you're fine. You'll be eternally in heaven even though you sinned, okay? Islam is very much not that way. Islam is the religion. You follow the religion and you follow it the way it's meant to be followed. And there are consequences when you don't follow it. And to some degree, I agree with Tate about that very much. Now, I don't like the religion particularly. It's very much a religion that is, it as much as people try to pretend it isn't. It's a very violent religion. It's very much kill the infidels, right? The non Muslims. That is in the texts. So I'm not on board with that. But to some degree, I get it. Like, you won't have Islam nations that fly rainbow flags on their government buildings.
yeah, they burn gays, throw them off buildings.
But you'll have
yeah.
Christian nations that do that. But
All the Christian
but
nations.
it's a sin in Christianity. But Christian nations are flying rainbow flags.
Also say people Christians aren't accepting, and then they fly rainbow flags on Christian country.
Yeah, Christians are bigots, but they're pro-gay, even though the religion is anti-gay. I don't know. It's just it doesn't make any sense. But out of all the things I've seen
You
people
gay
drawn to Andrew
haters.
Tate for, out of all the people I've seen drawn to Andrew Tate, it's never been for womanizing. I don't know those people. I'm sure they exist. I don't know them.
Well, to go for the incel thing is a very serious thing. So I'm not. This ain't the
Well,
program for that. The data.
and we've talked about that too. Honestly, like when we talk about, we've said this on the show, but we almost blame weak men for just about everything. When you talk about like the popularity of OnlyFans, all these girls making all the money. Yes, we
Did
could.
you ever tell Ryan
Dude,
how
I
much
see-
money my dad has spent on OnlyFans?
I think I did in a text.
We're about
Yeah.
we're like around $100,000
Incel.
at least, like that we know.
Incel.
Yo, that's without credit cards. Dude.
And here's the thing: like, how do you? Are the women who do it wrong? Absolutely.
Oh, that's fucking smart, man.
It's sure. If your only goal in life is to make money, yeah, go be an OnlyFans whore. That's fine. But the thing that keeps OnlyFans afloat are the men who provide the money to the girls. It is
Fuck
funded by weak
robots.
men.
I'm fucking telling you, fuck robots.
It is entirely
The
the
fuck
fault of
robots.
weak men that OnlyFans is popular. Would the women would not be there, Ryan, if the weak men were not providing them income.
That's true.
And yeah, is Andrew Tate bad for society? I don't know. He's running around telling everyone why OnlyFans is bad and to be stronger, to be mentally stronger, to be physically stronger. Is that bad for society? Or is it better to have incels running around buying whores from OnlyFans?
I don't know, dude.
The nuclear family, though, Ryan. I don't know. I don't know Jordan Peterson. I don't know. Sometimes I like Jordan Peterson in general, in certain context. But for whatever reason, when he decides to be political with his knowledge, he seems to misguide it. It's odd. And
It's Target.
I'm sure it's just Veep, Ryan. I'm sure it's Veep.
Probably Veep. It's just Veep that his daughter stopped by his house in Romania.
I shouldn't.
While he was sick. Did you? I heard there was a conspiracy that she actually brought COVID back and got Jordan Peterson sick off the COVID or whatever it was.
From
Like
Tate?
she brought something, from Romania.
Romanian COVID's like the worst too. You know, that's
Yeah,
the
all
strain
those
that was
cockroaches.
going around. You know, it's probably Romanian.
The Tate-
That's the one
Tate-
that's going around. That fucking doctor. Oh, you probably got Omicron. I said, didn't you do a test? Yeah, it's probably Omicron. That's what's going around right now. So the test tells you nothing. Perfect. Love that.
Does
Super
it tell you that it was
scientific.
built on a life? Yo, did you see that the White House is posting a thing about the COVID origins?
Yeah. 100, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, it came from lab
For
people.
sure. But the thing that bothers me is, I don't know, like, Fauci was pardoned, right, by an auto pen. But at what point do we say, fuck your auto pen pardon, Fauci's a criminal, and we're coming after him? Do it and let the Supreme Court get involved and decide if auto pen is acceptable for a president.
Dave, I'm not going to say anybody's name, but I'm pretty sure that some dude went and shot some CEO of a healthcare company.
Yeah, I believe he was one of the plumbers from Nintendo.
Sonic?
No. Yeah. He did. Shot the dude right in the back of the head.
Yeah, it's
Veep. It's Veep.
Is that all? Is that It's all Veep. Is that all we got now? That's all. That's the only way to do it. We can't trust anybody.
You know what's interesting? Isn't it smarter if you're going to take somebody out to do it like that instead of say they committed suicide with 2 gunshots to the back of their head? Not saying that somebody sent him in there to take this guy out. I'm just saying if you were to do it, wouldn't it be smarter to just make it seem like some random guy? If you were to do such a thing, right? I'm not saying they do that kind of thing. Like when the Russian doctor was found dead in his apartment because he was speaking out
in a bag.
Yeah.
In a bag. He was in a bag.
Well, he was found dead, strangled to death.
Oh yeah, that's
Russian
doctor.
You mean murdered?
Found
murdered.
Dead.
He was murdered. Oh, he was found dead. Found dead with a rope around his neck. Murdered. He wasn't hanging. He was strangled. Found dead.
It's kind of like when Putin won the election by blowing up the apartment building his fucking opponent lived in.
See, that's the thing too when we talk about Putin on the program. Like, Putin is not a good guy at all. Not a good guy.
Do you remember when the Russians sniped that guy 6 millimeters away from his wife from space?
Using AI facial detection.
Oh man. The fake Jew diary is the best one, Dave.
Jesus Christ.
Best conspiracy on the program.
Yeah. I don't know.
All the same. Dave Ryan, December 1773. Catch us on Rumble for the greatest podcast in all of human history. As always, David, I appreciate your time, and I will see everybody tomorrow.
I was going to try to stretch this out to an hour, but we're 11 minutes away. So it's not like yesterday when it was like 11 seconds and we were so close. I'm like, dude, you just got to wait. Also, I'm working on getting a few guests on. We're going to have Christian.
Like who?
Christian's going to come on. He's going to come on. We'll speak with Christian. I'd like to ask him what the fuck's up with DeSantis. What's DeSantis' problem? Because he was a DeSantis.
You should get Mike Tremont back. We got to get Mike Tremont back on. Give him his post-election breakdown.
I can reach out and see if he'll come on. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what I can do, Ryan. And then I got a few ideas. I would like to get Mike Tremont back on with no chains though, where he doesn't have to pretend he likes Chase Oliver.
Yeah, it'd be cool. It'd be cool to see him twist up.
I very much suspect he was not actually a fan in real life. I don't think he'd ever admit to it. But some of the things he said made me think like, that's not the kind of stuff that your running mate would say. He was very much woke, right? Chase Oliver.
Some would say.
Definitely
wear a mask if you're for freedom. I don't know. Hey, Ryan, December 1773. I'll catch you guys later.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ryan.
Later, bud.